Boom. I'm Paul Cram. I wanted to share and talk about all of the reasons why one should not read this book. This book is Gay by Juno Dawson. Uh, this book is banned often. Actually, that's why part of the reason that I took it upon myself to read this book from cover to cover is because this book is banned. And like a lot of people, when I see that a book is banned, I never really want to touch that book or ever read it because there's a reason that those books are banned. And oftentimes it has to do with things that I should not know as an adult person at all. I should not know about what's inside this book. So I suffered and I read this book cover to cover so that you do not have to suffer and read the book. Even though, oftentimes people don't read books that they want banned because, again, why would we read something when we don't want to know what's inside? We should just ban things that we don't want to know about. Even though, like most people, I'm going to just make a blanket statement here. I would guarantee that often, I would say probably most of the people that I know that want to ban books don't even read. So again, I'm doing a public service by having read such a wretched, horrible, awful thing that's been banned. Uh, so I did read This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. I specifically picked the book up because of its controversial status as being a banned book. Uh, I would say that some of the reasons that you should not, I've jotted some notes down here, but one of the reasons that you really shouldn't read this book is because this book discusses all the things that most young adults are going to face when they go through puberty. Why would you want a young person to know these things? It's horrible. It's awful. It's so horrible to have a young person who's going to go through extreme changes in their body to know what those are going to be. Just awful. Uh, yeah, so external changes, internal changes, as well as how society and religions are going to treat them and stuff, especially if they're gay. Again, why the fuck would we want anybody to know that stuff? I mean, good Lord, it's so much better for people to just be thrown to the wolves and have, like, yeah, anyone that's queer, gay, trans, you name it, why would you want them to know what to expect? Seems pretty brutal to do to somebody to give them somewhat of a guide for life. And yeah, the book includes, this is another reason you should not read this book. Anyone, run away from reading this book. Even if you're straight, do not read this book because the book gives a very comprehensive sex education, not just in the straight world of male female sex education, which is pretty easy to find and access, because they teach it in public schools. This gives a queer gay sex education, which includes male on male sex, women on women sex, and bisex. Oh my God, clutch your pearls. Like, again, oh, the horror of I had to endure to read this book. Uh, it gives actually very, very, very detailed information on biology and let me see if I can find some of there's a also the book uses a lot of humor in it, which is lovely. I think some of the stuff should be laughed about and chuckled about. But there's a really it again, it gives graphic photos. Oh my God, like showing body parts of, again, oh my Lord. body parts of adults, male and female, drawings. Holy shit. Oh my God, shaking your boots. Um, that, yes, again, that any young person would have to figure this stuff out all on their own. Oh, what a better way. Yeah, so it gives a very comprehensive sex education, including butt sex, anal stuff, what it is to give head, what the dangers are for you as an individual with STIs, HIV, all of these things we should not be talking about at all to anyone, anywhere, because God forbid people have like educated things about what would happen to them if they don't use condoms. Oh, the horror. Yeah. Um, yeah, the overarching thing for me, having read this book, is that the entire book covers I can see why this book is so dangerous, especially if you come from a religious background, because this book throughout the entire thing acknowledges individuals as having agency over their own bodies, of having agency over their sexuality, of it promotes this thing called like discovery, where it's like, what is it that you get to decide what you are into, meaning with your sexuality, meaning with your body. It talks about consent. Oh dear God, clutch your pearls, because what is this thing called consent? We don't want to teach that, especially, um, I'm going to totally pick on some religions. Why would one want to teach consent to young people if they know about consent? They could say no to sex with pedophiles. Catholic priests much? Yeah, I can see why people would not want to read this book. It's dangerous for people to have information. Um, the other thing that this book just overarches and talks about and teaches, in addition to comprehensive sex education, is also addresses things like your mental health, your emotional well-being in relationships, in addressing like society in general, in dealing with people that may be religious zealots, including Christianity, including Judaism, including Islam. And it gives, oh my God, again, why would we want anyone to have that kind of advice and information at their fingertips? Um, One thing that I'm working really hard not to say that I love this book, but one thing that is so challenging at the end and where the author brings it is to a very similar place of the book The Velvet Rage, written by Dr. Alan Downs. And it pushes beyond sex, and it pushes way beyond that, and it goes into being gay is just one. It's a big part of one's life, especially when you're going through puberty, to figure those things out. It becomes a part of your life, and there's a much, much broader life. And to be able to like deal with one's sexuality in a very healthy manner, and to have education, and to be able to approach one's life with dignity and respect. Oh my God, again, this is dangerous because it teaches you to respect yourself, and it teaches you to give your life dignity. How dare this author provide that for young people? And it lands in this space and place where it questions the reader to contemplate their broader life, of what it is that they want their life to look like as a queer individual. Again, oh my God, it makes it okay to be gay. So I can't keep this ruse up. It's just stupid. But I'm sure there's a lot of people listening and watching that either got how sarcastic I am, or if you don't get it, go to therapy or go take some type of a test. For your IQ. The book is fantastic. I am very angry that something like this is even controversial. I think people are banning books left and right, and they're complete idiots. This book, it would have been a godsend for me as a young person going through adolescence. This book was not written when I was that age. Something like this did not exist. I am so fucking glad that it exists now. And anyone that needs a copy, wants to read this book, find your local library. You can get digital copies. There's so many ways to get your hands on this book. But honestly, if you have a hard time finding one or getting one, reach out to me. Reach out to me. I'd love to help you get your hands on This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. If I can't help you get your hands on it, somebody will. Reach out to a librarian, reach out to go to the internet. There's ways to get your hands on this book if you need it, want it. Yeah. And I hope that I don't know. I don't know. I'm obviously frustrated and angry. And it's um the book even touches on some of the queer history of people that came even before me. Like I feel like in some ways I'm old. You know what I'm saying? And there's people that came before me and faced hardships that I only read about. Uh, the hardships that I have walked through in being a queer man and having grown up in a horribly homophobic, high demand religion and an unaccepting family has been so challenging. And something like this, it warms my heart to see that this exists now. And yeah, it just makes me so sad that there are people that don't accept me, that don't want their children or other people's children to have access to something that could just make their life not be quite so hard. So lots of love to everyone. I hope that we all are able to get along. Don't know what else to say. All right. Bye.